is going to the Final Four.
The following is a Learfield presentation of the Oregon Sports Network.
And Oregon is going to play in the national championship game.
This is Duck Insider.
These are good problems to have, right? So much success that you have more than one place to be.
5-3, touchdown, Oregon.
Off a dribble, launches, and hits the three. Oregon leads.
What a great opportunity it is to be able to play at University of Oregon.
I'm just incredibly proud to be a part of something like this.
She wants another three. Oh, three in a row.
Swing and a miss. Oregon is headed to the Super Regional.
Fans being out there making this a great impact.
We are so privileged and so fortunate. We get to see all these young people. We get to see this incredible growth, which is what college is all about.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Now let's go live to the Country Financial Studio to talk Oregon Duck Athletics.
It is a Thursday before a game day eve. The Ducks on the road at UCLA. Coming up in the Rose Bowl, 8 o'clock kickoff on Fox, 6 o'clock pregame show for us across the Oregon Sports Network. We've got Jaden Lamar. We've got Keon Ware-Hudson. We've got Brian Michalowski, the Duck inside linebackers coach, as well as Oregon football head coach Dan Lanning on that pregame that starts at 6 o'clock from the Rose Bowl this weekend. Means we get to watch a lot of games heading into the Oregon kickoff. We'll know who's leading in picks heading into that pregame show. Speaking of picks, we will do the show early tomorrow. That's right. We'll do Duck Insider from 11:30 to 12:30. If you are live with us and you watch the show, I just had to sneeze. Thank you. If you watch the show live, you'll be able to join us actually from 11:30 to 12:30. Jerry and Georgie will be here in the studio. We'll do our picks, and I'm really looking forward to picks. It's gonna be fun tomorrow. Also, of course, full game preview. We've got a lot to cover. And speaking of game preview today, earlier this week, I caught up with the voice of the Bruins, Josh Lewin. A lot to cover, the preview from the UCLA side. We also have Devin Jackson, Jaden Lamar, Terrence Ferguson meeting with the media this week, and Oregon soccer is coming up. The Ducks continue their Big Ten slate at 7 o'clock tonight against Indiana. It's on Big Ten Plus. Also, KWVA, the student radio station, who, by the way, the sports director is directing the show here today. Austin Oda, who maybe you saw on Oregon volleyball over the weekend, himself and Saul Galvan. Great job. Show yourself. Come on now. Put yourself on camera. Let's go. Cut to yourself on camera. Yes! Good job, Austin. Austin is here in the studio. He does not like that I just did that, but we're going to do it anyway for our OSN broadcast intern extraordinary. You know who else is in the studio today? He's here. We're going to talk about him coming up. We might make him get a headset on. I'm not going to tell you who yet. Instead, Josh Lewin will be joining us in just a moment. But, yeah, women's soccer in action tonight against Indiana. Head out to Pape Field. Hope to see you there. We've got some preview of that coming up on the show today as well. And it is week of welcome for Oregon freshmen here. Classes start next Monday, which means Oregon volleyball anticipates a full house tomorrow night. Encourage you to check it out at Matthew Knight Arena. All right, Ducks, Bruins. The other side, Josh Lewin, voice of UCLA, his thoughts on this matchup in the season so far. Here's Josh. A lot of introductions across these conversations, right? Like new conference, new play-by-play broadcasters to talk to. Well, one that is consistent, so we don't have to ask for a 2-minute life story, is Josh Lewin. Josh Lewin, the voice of the Bruins, kind enough to join us. Josh, welcome back to Duck Insider. How are things in the City of Angels?
Good to see you, buddy. Yeah, I mean, kind of like you guys, we're feeling our way with some of this stuff, but it's still very mind-blowing, right? Just to kind of be a part of something that feels so far away. And we at least have traveled to Hawaii and we've traveled to LSU already, so we've got our mileage in, but we're still, we haven't been to Rutgers yet, and we haven't done that big all the way to the East Coast thing, so that's when it'll get real.
So you and I talked about this both off air and on, that you had a little more time to get ready for this transition. Is it what you thought it would be so far? I know you said you haven't done all the travel yet, but is it what you thought it would be, Josh?
Yeah, I'm going to reserve judgment on it, Joey, to be honest, because we've played Indiana at home. Indiana traveled fine, I think a lot of Midwest schools are going to really want to gear up and come to the Rose Bowl. I mean, because it's the Rose Bowl. But let's face it, Indiana football, that's not cream of the crop. Although this year, watch out. They were actually legit good because Curt Cignetti's a hell of a coach, and he brought half of James Madison's campus with him. But we haven't gone to the Big House to play football. We haven't gone to Mackey to play basketball. Iowa hasn't traveled yet to come to the Rose Bowl, but they will. So, ask me again in a month and I might tell you different. Right now, it feels very much the same. It's just there's some, I don't even want to say different colored uniforms. Like, Indiana came in and it's like, oh, we're playing Stanford. It was like same uniform and it was, it's a little bit of noise from the opposite section, but it'll start feeling real this winter, I'm sure, when you're making those trips to Illinois and Indiana and Purdue to play basketball.
I'm wearing shorts today. I'll have the parka on in November. That's for sure. But to that point, Josh, I'm glad that you brought up the Rose Bowl. Like, that's such a unique piece to UCLA football, right? Like, I actually, we all said, we do picks, Josh, every week on our show, and Jerry, Jorgie, and I all to a man said, hey, that's a big deal for Indiana to get to the Rose Bowl. Like, I don't know, Josh. I think just as a college football fan, that's a cool connection in this new era. There are more teams that experience that.
Yeah, I mean, for us, the building is really the star, I mean, because the football team itself hasn't done much of anything of late, as you know. But there's always the Rose Bowl, and Indiana's a great example of that. That university had played at the Rose Bowl once. That was when O.J. Simpson was at USC.
Wow.
It was a Rose Bowl of 1967 or 8 or something. I mean, that's like a million years ago. And the two teams had never actually played each other in football. They've both been around for more than 100 years. So, part of it feels new. But to your point, if I'm an Indiana fan, it's, we get to go to the Rose Bowl, not,
right.
Oh my gosh, we're playing UCLA.
Right, yeah. Josh Lewin, voice of the Bruins, with us. Okay, so we'll talk about this current team. But first, I want to go back. A slow-moving news cycle for you since we last talked. I mean, you get a new coach. There's the conference transition. Josh, you're smiling as I say this. Like, has there been a breather for you and for Bruin fans lately?
Well, at least Mick Cronin is still here with basketball, although
right.
The entire team has completely changed, and that's probably a good thing. I mean, that's going to be really interesting this winter because they just hit the transfer portal, like at a million miles an hour.
Yeah.
And we'll see. I think it's going to be a very good year in basketball. But football, they got left high and dry. I mean, you and I will always have Chip Kelly in common, right? So, Chip was not long for this job, and I think that was pretty apparent for a while. Problem with the timing of it, when he bolted, it was kind of too late to go find your Curt Cignetti like Indiana did.
Mm-hmm.
Now they went internally and basically promoted Deshaun Foster, and that's a home run in terms of optics because everybody loves Deshaun, the players love him, he's a UCLA hero. But call it what it is. I mean, he was given a really tough assignment. I mean, this was a team in flux that lost half of its defense. And, he's never been a head coach before, so there's always going to be a learning curve. And boom, you're going to the Big Ten and playing 6 road games. And, I mean, it's a lot, So this was a real challenge. We knew that kind of coming in this year. They barely beat Hawaii, and it's like, okay, like now they got their footing. And, maybe this will all work out, 7 or 8 win season, here we come. But, man, Indiana just came in and ate our lunch. There's no disguising that. And then they were competitive at LSU. I mean, I liked what I saw at LSU. But this gauntlet of a schedule, I mean, they just got done playing number 14 in the nation, and now the next 2 weeks they get 8 and 9.
Right.
And one of those is on the road at Penn State. So, no one would be surprised if they're out of the gate 1 and 4. But you just hope that they can right the ship and finish 6 and 6 or 7 and 5 or something like that. You don't want 1 and 4 to become 1 and 11.
Yeah, you bring up a great point though with the schedule. I actually said that about a month ago when we were doing our Big Ten preview, and it's like, man, you get Hawaii, that's a long trip. It could be a weird game. You never know. And Indiana, as we've alluded to, I feel like the schedule is very difficult, right? Like that's got to at least give. I should put it this way. That's got to at least give Bruin fans some solace at this point in the season, right?
Yeah, it's kind of a moral victory or a baked-in excuse that, you got a first-time head coach that had a short runway. There's all this change. I mean, it's all true, but nobody likes a 5-win season.
Sure.
Right? So, Let's see where it goes. Maybe it's 7 or 8. But I think people are kind of girding their loins for 2 or 3, because it's just nothing's really working yet. But it's only mid-September, towards late September. A good showing against Oregon, maybe use that home field a little bit. I mean, if they get this win, I think they're completely confident going forward, and maybe they do get their 7 or 8 wins. But, Vegas seems to think otherwise, and I get it. You guys, are putting it together as we knew you would. You were top 5 team in the country coming in, and even though you might not have looked like won the first 2 games, you absolutely did in Corvallis. So, coming off a bye week as you are too. I mean, this is another one where it's just like, man, there's not a lot of gimme putts on this course for football this year.
Josh Lewin joining us, voice of the Bruins. I always like to ask this, the perspective on Oregon from opposing broadcaster, opposing fan base. Like, you hit on it a little bit there, but just in general, what is the view of the Ducks? Is there happiness that Oregon is joining you in the Big Ten? Is there not? I don't know, Josh.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's funny. Like, you want to preserve certain rivalries. I mean, in football, we were kind of Cal and Stanford were big rivals. Now they're gone. You guys, probably since the whole chip thing have become a better rival, but it's not a true, like down and dirty rivalry. And we love you guys. I mean, to me, it's friendly. Like, there's no, built-in animus or anything like that. Arizona's a different story. We freaking hate Arizona, for basketball, freaking hate USC because they're USC. So at least, I mean, once we knew the SC rivalry would be preserved, I think people were cool. And it is nice to have Oregon and Washington along for the ride. I mean, these are like our distant cousins that, arrive back for Thanksgiving. And I think there's value to that. So the sense that I get for football is I just think we're all very impressed. I mean, I don't know how else to say it. I mean, Oregon does it right. Lanning's a hell of a coach. I mean, all of it. There's a Dante Moore connection now too that really, that got super weird, super quick around here last year. He was not ready for that stage. I think he's very talented, but at 18 years old, they asked him to do too much. And, so I don't think there's any, built-in, baked-in animosity about gotta beat Oregon. But, it is a great rivalry. There have been some great games the last few years. You guys always seem to pull it out right at the end, and Bruin fans definitely know that and remember that, so they're eager to put their best foot forward.
That's the voice of the Bruins, Josh Lewin. We talked to him a little bit earlier this week, airing here on a Thursday. We continue on with him talking about a little bit of basketball, too. Basketball season can be here before we know it. We've got schedules for the men and the women, waiting on times to settle in thanks to our TV partners. But we now know Oregon, UCLA in December. Ooh, that's going to be a fun basketball game. When we come back, more Duck football preview with Josh Lewin. Also, a few Oregon football student athletes. Back after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Hey Duck fans, at Country Financial, they make insurance easy. Whether you're shopping for home, auto, or more, their representatives will take the time to understand your specific needs and explain what options work best for you. Worry less and feel more confident knowing you're covered. Visit countryfinancial.com to get started today. Experience more with Country Financial.
Auto and home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Preferred Insurance Company, and Country Casualty Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois.
More Duck Insider from the Country Financial Studios after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
You said you'd never buy your kid candy from the checkout aisle or forget extra diapers. You'd never lick your thumb to clean their face. Never, ever become a minivan mom. So when you say you'd never leave your child in a hot car, know it can happen. Cars get hot fast, and kids can be at risk in temperatures as low as 60 degrees Fahrenheit. Never happens. Before you leave the car, always stop, look, lock. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
August was born 3 pounds, 9.8 ounces. When I first saw him, it was a whole range of emotions. There's stuff I still want to do. Being a young dad, it's not giving up. It's shifting. I looked through his eyes. I can envision a whole future with him already. To throw the first football to him, give him ice cream for the first time. My life is now devoted to his life.
Through all of fatherhood's firsts, never stop being a dad. Visit fatherhood.gov to hear more. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
You know, the new bump backs just, I get right into the game day mode when you hear them, right? Like, oh, that was great. By the way, last night, Marcus Harper's on the Coach's Show. Phenomenal interview. If you missed it, Oregon Sports Network podcast, Go Ducks YouTube, Marcus Harper, going to be fabulous. Whatever he decides to do with his life after he's a millionaire playing football. Well, Marcus Harper here is coming home, our other bump back, right? He's like, he's coming, oh man, I'm going to miss that song. And I need to say this on the air. Marcus, if you're listening, I'm so sorry for the question that I asked after because he was like, oh man, I'm going to miss that song. And I said, yeah, like you're a senior, like, is it starting to hit you? And he just went wide-eyed like, not until right now. Thanks, Joey. But really, it kind of hit me like this might be the last time we have him on the Coach's Show. I'm in the studio, and it was like, oh. But it's just a thing, right? Like yeah. Pretty amazing. Though to think about the career of him. By the way, the new episode of The Big Mark Show with Evan Stewart dropped today. Wherever you get your podcast, follow Marcus Harper on social media. Yeah, he's doing his own show. Pretty sweet. That's what this era of college athletics is supposed to be about. Like somebody like that should be able to go and do a show, maybe get a sponsor or two, right? Like that's what this is supposed to be. It's a chance for him to grow his brand. Anyway, he's just one example of many. Thanks again, though, to Marcus Harper joining us last night. Also, a quick note, because Brian Michalowski, our guest for our coaches spotlight on our pregame show starting at 6 o'clock from the Rose Bowl on Saturday, Coach Lanning last night, I asked him what position has changed the most in college football. He actually said the linebacker. I thought he would say, I didn't know what he would say, but I've thought the tight end has changed the most in maybe the last 10, 20 years. But he said linebacker. So I asked Brian Michalowski that today. We talked after practice today for that pregame interview. I encourage you to check it out. And we also are posting our pregame interviews as individual podcast episodes on the Oregon Sports Network podcast, because I know many of you are maybe running around and you missed the interview, you want to go back, listen to it, whatever it may be. Now they're all available. They're on GoDucks.com. We've got a story that comes up on GoDucks.com every game day, and they're on the Oregon Sports Network podcast. You can listen to the individual interviews that air within our entire pregame show. Also, we are now officially going to do this every single game. Full game broadcasts available on the Oregon Sports Network podcast. You want to go back, listen to Jerry and Georgie from the start? Maybe you want to go back, listen to the pregame show from the start, the postgame show? We got it all for you. The goal is to have it up within about an hour of the end of the game. We went through some technical issues when I tried to do this last year and the year before. We've solved those issues, and I want to say thanks to Ashley Gentry back in our OSN studio. She's the one that's doing the heavy lifting on actually a lot of that postgame. Really awesome to be able to do that. I know a lot of fans have asked for it, and now we've made it easy on the OSN podcast. Continuing to preview Oregon football at UCLA, Josh Lewin, the voice of the Bruins, covering a lot of ground with the guy who'll have the call on the other side of this matchup at 8 o'clock on Saturday, continuing our chat with Josh Lewin. And the respect factor, especially in basketball, like some of those games have been a lot of fun, especially in hoops. Now, that being said, you mentioned Dante Moore. I was going to ask you about that, Josh. Like, I think, he has really impressed me, just speaking honestly, both in practice, the way that he's presented himself to the media. Like, you saw him in what I would call a tough situation. Just your thoughts on Dante after you worked with him and now moving forward at Oregon.
Yeah, good kid. I mean, I think he'll be set up well, learning from that staff and from Dylan Gabriel and everything else. I mean, that's the arc it should have been all along, hold the clipboard, so to speak, kind of get yourself ready, be in that good environment. He just, you put feet to fire sometimes, doesn't work out. And, he just kind of glazed over a little bit, I think, as the season went on last year. It was a big ask to have an 18-year-old lead a bunch of 22 and 23-year-olds. And, so in fairness to him, I don't think that casts any doubts on who he is as a person or how talented he is as an athlete.
Yeah, I think that's great perspective as we continue with Josh Lewin. All right, this season, Josh, for Oregon fans, break down what you've seen a little bit. Let's start maybe offensively. What do you see from the Bruins offense?
Yikes. Well, they haven't gotten past 17 points yet, and they're not great yet. They're just not. They got two guys in the backfield that I think can run the ball really well, and they've proven that. TJ Harden and Keegan Jones. Brought in Jalen Berger from Michigan State, who's finally healthy enough to get going. In theory, they should have a run game, and they've got Deshaun Foster and Eric Bieniemy in charge of this thing. So, they obviously have, these are NFL guys. They've got Super Bowl appearances and all that stuff. But there's no run game yet. It's just not working. They can't protect the quarterback, and that's, obviously a problem as well. They've got very talented receivers, just can't get them the ball. So offense has been, let's just call it a work in progress. I think it will get better the more they all get to know each other, find an offensive line combination that works. And, defensively, they can't get off the field. They're now dead last in third down conversion for the opposition. They're coming off a 9 for 12 and a 10 for 14. And, at LSU at 2 o'clock in the afternoon down there in 94 degrees and humidity, to not get off the field, that's not going to work. So they had like 92 and 96-yard touchdown drives, and they missed the pass rush of guys like Latu and the Murphy twins. They're all gone. So they don't have a sack in their last two games. They don't really breathe on the quarterback yet. So it puts a lot on the linebackers, puts a lot on the secondary. There's talent here on the field. There's talent with the coaches. It's just not together quite yet. It's just not really working yet. But, as a UCLA honk, I got to say, look, let's give it some time.
Yeah.
They'll figure it out. I think it's good for Oregon that you guys get this game when you get it, because hopefully come November, all these things will have been figured out. But right now, just frankly, they have not been figured out.
Well, and to that point, I think I would be saying the exact same thing as you defensively, especially because of who the head coach is. Right? That's got to give some confidence moving forward. I think there is potential defensively. And truthfully, Josh, I don't think UCLA got enough credit defensively last year. That's just one man's opinion, though.
Yeah, they were really, number 2 in the nation for run defense. Yep. And they retained Jay Toya, who's going to be an NFL player. He's like a Haloti Ngata style, run stuffer, and that's wonderful. But it's not like the cupboard is bare, but, they've got, other than maybe Kane Madrano, who I think is an NFL talent at linebacker, and Femi Oladejo, who used to be at Cal, they got they got good, hardworking guys. Nothing wrong with them. It's just if you're matched up against Oregon behemoths and speed on the edge like you guys have to get downfield, the Tezes of the world, it's just it's a lot. It's a lot to ask.
Keys to the game. You alluded to a few of them there. Bruins win if.
Well, if the defense can actually get off the field is the big one. I always go back to that and give the offense more than just 6 or 7 drives a game. They've been a little better in the red zone, just coming off that LSU game, but that's another biggie. Get 7 points instead of 3 when you do get down there. I don't think UCLA is hopelessly outclassed or anything like that. I just think Oregon is flat out the better team right now. So doesn't mean that UCLA won't get there by midseason or the end of the season. Doesn't mean they won't put together a great game plan and hang in there and even potentially beat Oregon. I think the game being at home, all of that is in their favor. But just being realistic. There's a reason Oregon was number 3 in the nation coming into the season. There's a reason UCLA was not in the top 25.
How do Bruin fans feel about an 8 o'clock kick? What's the environment going to be like?
Well, it's like we thought we got rid of this Pac-12 after dark nonsense. And here comes it. They haven't had an 8 o'clock kick since 1990. So it's like, what are we doing? But we just saw it firsthand at LSU. It's a heck of a tailgating opportunity. You can go all day. We actually kind of felt deprived at LSU that we didn't get the full arc and specter of that.
Right.
But Yeah, it's one of those it is what it is deals. I mean, it does kind of mess with your Saturday because it's literally your entire Saturday now. But yeah, turn it into a positive, come out to the Rose Bowl and light yourself on fire. It'll be great.
Yeah, I mean, Josh Lewin, lastly, you hit on basketball. I got to ask you a little bit about basketball because it's become, and the Big Ten's continued this, feels like right around December. Usually it's right after Christmas lately, but now it's well before Christmas. Oregon, UCLA, basketball, it's here. You touched on it a bit. I got to ask the voice of the Bruins about a little bit of basketball, don't I? What do you think this year? You think they're going to be pretty good, I guess?
Yeah, I do. And it's just a total different approach. I mean, last year they tried to go international and kind of become Gonzaga. And it just didn't work. I mean, because they were 18-year-olds. It's a Dante Moore conversation all over again. Like, there's very few freshmen that can come in and really make an impact in basketball. I mean, we had Lonzo Ball do that several years ago. Not everybody's Lonzo Ball. So this year, it's just like this tag team. It's like hockey line changes of just, A to A minus talent. All these guys that averaged 14 a game at good programs last year, and it's just a matter of how you make the puzzle pieces fit together. But probably the most familiar name to you guys will be Bilodeau from Oregon State. I mean, that's the kind of player they just got, like they Xeroxed him. They just made an exact replica of that guy and got 8 more of them. They just like brought in a whole bunch of guys just like that.
Yeah.
So, good example, like a second team all conference kind of guy, third team all conference kind of guy, not an All-American. But they've just got this incredible long roster of, second team, third team kind of guys in various leagues. So, if you give me 10 or 12 guys who are A minuses, I think that works better than, 1 A plus and a bunch of Ds.
Yeah.
And so it's a fun experiment. I think it's gonna be a fun year in basketball.
Mick Cronin's a good coach.
The mutual admiration is there. I mean, he'll say the same thing about Dana, and it's just like, every year one of us is a little more up than the other one, but not by much, and it's always 2 great games. So that's one where I'm glad the rivalry is still intact.
Same. Yeah, I'm with you. You guys gonna play Arizona? What do you think? Gonna happen?
Yeah. So they went out and put them on the schedule.
Let's
this
go.
year and next. Yeah, because it's true that thing gets rough. So it'll be in Phoenix this year, not Tucson, thank God. And then it's in LA the year after, I guess. So we're looking forward to that.
Yeah, that's a good thing. Oregon's going to continue to play Oregon State. They're on the schedule. I think it's the right thing to do. Josh, I can't thank you enough for the time. Always appreciate your perspective. Hey, be well. We'll see you at the Rose Bowl, huh?
Travel safe. You got it.
Josh Lewin, voice of the Bruins. I think safe to say at this point, looking forward to basketball season. But you never know. Hey, a team that is down is only 1 win away from confidence. Going on the road, all of the cliches are at play. So got to take care of business if you're the Ducks. When we come back, hearing from some of those Ducks trying to take care of business. Devin Jackson, Jaden Lamar, Terrence Ferguson, Country Financial Studio. It's Duck Insider. Back after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear summer vacay, load up on fun in a new Toyota. Go off-road in the 4Runner, haul it all in the Tundra, play hard in the Tacoma, or take the scenic route in the all-new all-hybrid Camry. Visit Toyota.com for more info. Toyota, let's go places.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Dear summer vacay, load up on fun in a new Toyota. Go off-road in the 4Runner, haul it all in the Tundra, play hard in the Tacoma, or take the scenic route in the all-new all-hybrid Camry. Visit Toyota.com for more info. Toyota, let's go places.
Don't go anywhere. Duck Insider continues after these messages on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
You took the first step and quit smoking, but even former smokers may still be at risk for lung cancer. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know about a new low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early. It takes only 60 seconds and could save your life. You took the first step, now take the next. Visit SaveByTheScan.org for a simple quiz to see if you're eligible and talk to your doctor about screening. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
I'm coming home to the place that I remember. Back to the land of my first love. Would you spread wide your arms for this wayward son? I left my heart.
As that song continues to be part of the DNA of Oregon, you know there are so many people that are going to come back and that first quarter, and they've been maybe gone for a while, haven't been to a game, it's going to be like, oh, just hit me right in the heart, you know? Devin Jackson, Jaden Lamar, Terrence Ferguson. Now, we haven't gotten to those student-athlete interviews this week. Let's get to a few of them. First, an inside linebacker in Devin Jackson. He had a few thoughts on this matchup with the Bruins, and I thought particularly he echoed some of the keys for the Ducks this week being maintaining the cage. Thought that they didn't do a great job of that, actually, against Oregon State. That contain on the quarterback, that's one of the keys, I think, heading into this matchup with the Bruins. Devin Jackson on that key and more with the Oregon linebacker.
Had a great start to the year. Was there anything different in your process this offseason leading up to the season that made the difference for you this season?
Film study, really like knowing what I see versus just knowing my job as a defense, knowing what the offense is going to do before it happens. So it's not just me being reactive, it's being like proactive, like, okay, I know what's coming, and I know how fast if I can get there much faster to the play.
You kept the momentum from week 3 to the bye into this week.
I got to keep the momentum up. We obviously, we had a bye, but for me, just like keep the film study up, just keep going hard in practice because we can't take a step down for where we're trying to go. We got to keep stacking days and keep going up.
What have you seen from UCLA's quarterback so far? Just taking a look at film at home.
He's a solid quarterback. Likes to scramble. He will throw it downfield. Likes to take his shots. Solid quarterback all the way around. Got to keep him in the cage and do what we got to do on defense.
Leon said something about being better in the cage this week. Where are the improvements in that area?
Just keep him in the cage. Make sure you can't just let him run and let him go around all day. Let him throw the ball. Like keep him contained. Make sure he doesn't get outside of us and try to expand us on defense.
Any thoughts on playing in a stadium with as much history as the Rose Bowl has?
Honestly, for me, no, it's just the next opponent for me. Next game, that next person I got to play and go on about that.
I thought that was a very controlled answer from Devin Jackson on a blustery day in the Emerald Valley, by the way. You could hear it on the microphone. But the Rose Bowl does have this gravity to it. We were talking with Marcus Harper about this last night. And he was like even saying, hey, that is odd. You haven't played in the Rose Bowl before. It does have some gravity to it. Then you get a guy like Devin Jackson that's like, I'm ready to just play. Devin Jackson strikes me as the guy that would go play on the torn-up playground field and be just as happy there as he would at the Rose Bowl. You know? Like you just get that feeling. Jaden Lamar, who was, in a lot of ways, I thought the football universe really gave him a great opportunity 2 weeks ago to get that touchdown. And remember, he's the guy that fell on the ball. Good coaching in special teams, something he takes really seriously. He's the guy that fell on the ball to prevent what could have been disastrous for the Ducks. When Noah Whittington dropped the ball before crossing the goal line, Jaden Lamar is the one on special teams that fell on the ball, got the credited for the touchdown. Then he got a touchdown from scrimmage against Oregon State. Cool to see that. I think that's the game rewarding hard work in that situation. Jaden Lamar talking with the media here.
How has preparing for games in a new conference been different this week?
I wouldn't say it's been different. We can prepare every week like, it's the biggest opponent we're ever going to play. So it's been about the same, and it's the first time we get to really travel, though. And so we know that's the only big difference, but it's been about the same for us.
How'd that big touchdown feel against Oregon State?
It felt good. It opened up amazing, and the O-line was out there, and they took off, and so it made my job pretty easy. But, yeah, it felt great.
What do you think the impact of a play like that could be on your role with this team? Do you think you've maybe proven something with that, or I guess how are you taking those reps?
I guess the way this team kind of works, you prove everything in practice, and so everything I showed them in practice, they know when they put me out there in the game that's what they're going to get, and so that's why I get those opportunities like that, and I just want to keep trying to make the most of them.
Give Noah a hard time at all for that touchdown, the kick return touchdown?
Nah, that's my guy. I didn't know that actually happened until like way after the game, but we talked about it, and it happened, and I was just happy I was able to be there helping out. Yes.
So you didn't realize it was a live ball?
No, I thought there could be a chance, so I got it just in case, but I didn't think it actually had happened. And then, after we saw the film, found out all that. But yeah.
What's been the fallout in practice in terms of instructing those kind of situations? Has it been something you guys have focused on a little more?
We focus on them a lot, actually. That's why, when I saw the ball on the ground, I thought to pick it up. But we focus on those type of situations. It's anything that can happen all the time. And so when it happens, it's kind of just like second nature. But yeah.
What's it been like being on kickoff coverage too? Because that's not necessarily a role that you always see a lot of running backs doing, but you're gunning down there.
Yeah, it's been amazing. Last year that was my goal, was this year to be back there, and then going into fall camp, I was able to earn that spot, and I love it. I take special teams extremely serious, and so it's been fun. And that's one place I've definitely honed in on.
What about special teams as specialty?
I feel like it's something that's really slept on. People don't really think about it, but there's a lot of jobs given out just because of special teams, and that's one thing my coaches preach to us all the time. And so I'm always just, I know that could be a big difference maker in games, as we've seen it has been here. And so it's just something that I always take pride in.
What changed for the run game in Corvallis? There's a big uptick in production and success there. Was there something to you that felt noticeable that was different?
I would say just, connection, really. Like, once we got with the O-line during the week and we started knowing exactly where they wanted to go, we knew how to set the blocks up better. And so having extra meetings with them and just talking through these blocking schemes and everything like that, and then we were able to establish the run early, and once you can establish it early, then it's kind of going to flow throughout the rest of the game.
So you feel like you're ready to take another step there this week?
100%. I feel like every week we're going to get better and better, and that's the goal.
How much does patience also play the factor in your guys' running ability of just setting the blocks up?
It's been huge. If you watch any good running back, you see it feels like they're going slow almost until they take off. So that's something our coach has been on us nonstop about, just, being very patient when we see it, take it, but not to force anything. So it's been big.
I feel like that was maybe an issue earlier in the season?
I would say it's something that we definitely had room to get better at, and so we were able to, Corvallis.
So those meetings with the O-line, is that player-led? Was that something that you guys just kind of took upon yourselves? Was that something that Coach Samp and Coach Terry were leading you guys, or how'd that come about?
A mixture of both. We had a little bit with coaches, but for the most part, it's player-led. The O-line, the centers, and all them, and the quarterbacks are in there as well, just so they know everything that's going on as far as pass pro and all that. But, yeah, it's mostly player-led.
How do you feel like you and the running back room as a whole attacked the bye week with a week of rest?
We don't really feel like it was much of a bye week. Like, we worked all week. We practiced almost every day. So it was definitely good, though. Feel like our pace was the big thing that, we were able to work on a lot. And so we were just able to fix a lot of the little things that we needed to work on. And, yeah, it was great.
It's year 2 for you going into the season. Do you have any personal goals or benchmarks that you want to hit this season?
Really just make the most of every opportunity I'm getting. And obviously we have a very stacked room and a lot of good backs. And so whatever opportunity I'm given, whatever role I have, I just want to do my best at it.
Do you guys get a chance on Sunday to watch Bo and Bucky's and Troy and all those guys play? And if so, what is it, watching a game with so many of your former teammates like?
It's awesome. Every day we were able to see Bo and Troy and Bucky and all them. We were able to see their routine and, how they attack things here, and then seeing them now do it in the league. Like, we kind of knew it would happen just because they've been doing that. And so it was awesome, though, to see everyone be able to see it and come full circle.
Jane Lamar, a lot of great stuff from the Oregon running back. A quick timeout, and when we return, Terrence Ferguson, veteran, who also was very complimentary of Oregon's development in the run game. That perimeter blocking, pretty darn important in the run game. Terrence Ferguson on that and more coming up. It's Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union here on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, we're more than just an award-winning golf course and practice facility. Our events team offers all-inclusive event pricing that allows us to take care of all the details while you enjoy your event. Our indoor and outdoor venues offer you a wide variety of fully staffed options that put the focus on you. From weddings to business and social events, at Shadow Hills Country Club Events Center, you get the benefits of a resort atmosphere and amenities in a peaceful country setting, just minutes from downtown Eugene. Call for a tour today or visit shadowhillsevents.com.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
You're listening to Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Substance use disorder and addiction is so isolating. And so, as a Black woman in recovery, hope must be loud. It grows louder when you ask for help and you're vulnerable. It is the thread that lets you know that no matter what happens, you will be okay.
When we learn the power of hope, recovery is possible. Find out how at startwithhope.com. Brought to you by the National Council for Mental Wellbeing, Shatterproof, and the Ad Council.
Put your phone on D&D, that means that do not disturb when you're driving. And when you're going from point A to B, I need you to stay safe, please, so always sing with me. So put your phone on D&D, that means that do not disturb when you're driving. And when you're going from point A to B, I need you to stay safe, please, so always remember this beat.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
You know you make me wanna kick my heels up and throw my hands up and throw my head back and come on now, so good to see you real.
It's Duck Insider presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Joey Mack at the Country Financial Studio. Duck football on the road at UCLA. We'll have an early Duck Insider for you tomorrow, 11:30 to 12:30. We'll do the show live. For those of you that tune in live, Jerry and Georgie will be here in the studio, and then we'll be hitting the road, actually hitting the road to get in the air to fly to Los Angeles, Oregon at UCLA. 6 o'clock pregame show for us on Saturday. Terrence Ferguson, veteran, has been in that stadium once or twice. The Oregon tight end meeting with the media this week. A lot of things to cover with the Duck vet tight end, Terrence Ferguson.
What's it going to be like playing Mo and Davies and some of the guys you came with recruiting class-wise?
I think it's just really cool, man, to be able to see those guys again. I stay in touch with a lot of them. We were really close as a class, and Mo especially, one of my best friends still. So, it'll be really cool to play against him.
How far have each of you, I'm sure you've had a chance to watch them, but how far have each of you come where that UCLA game back in 21 was one of the first times you guys both got to play quite a bit? How different a player are you, particularly in the blocking game, Terrence, than when you were?
Yeah, I've made huge strides, especially in the blocking game and just as a football player. I think Mo has too. You turn on the tape, he's someone we watch and we can see him, and he's become such a better football player across the board from route running, pass blocking, run blocking. He just looks like a better athlete out there, kind of grew into some of his body, and he's playing well. So it's really cool to see, especially because I really care for the guy, and seeing him go do his thing out there is pretty cool.
You guys keep in touch?
Yeah, we keep in touch a lot. I have my wedding next year, and I sent out, invited him, and talked to him about that. So it was really cool. Just like we connect actually quite often, so it's pretty cool.
What was the energy like from the tight end room during the bye week?
It was amazing, man. We came out, we call it work week. It's not a bye week. We got a lot of good work in, and all the young guys brought good energy. They get a little more reps during that. And I think me, Pat, and Kenyon really did a good job of bringing energy to those. You could be lackadaisical on your day or your bye week, and I think we got a lot of good workout and got better. So.
What you've seen from BA on film as an opposing safety, as opposed to what you saw in practice film of yours?
Yeah, no, it's the same thing we've seen, and he's a good player. He flies around, he plays hard, and he's lengthy, so he's someone who can cause a lot of problems. It's same thing I've seen from him since he practiced here and he was here. He's a good player.
I guess what stands out specifically about their defense, other than the familiarity you have with some of the players?
Mm-hmm. I think across the board they have really good athletes, and they have some lengthy players that can make plays. I think they do a lot of different things a lot of exotic things, I'd say, that cause trouble if you're not dialed in. But across that, I think really just the length they have across the board on defense.
You talked over the summer about how quickly you were able to build a relationship and a friendship with Dylan. How have you felt that manifest an impact on the field over the first couple weeks of the season?
I think we've done a good job of we built that connection early, and I feel like he trusts me, and we have just kind of this timing that we built up over the summer that just happened over time, really. So I think that's just translated on the field. He knows where I'm going to be at that time. I know where he's looking, and it's just translated on the field smoothly.
What stands out about that linebacker 20 in terms of just there's getting in the backfield?
Oh, yeah.
Blocking, you're going to have to do at the edge.
Yeah, he's a good player, man. He flies around. He does a lot of things for them. He's someone they move around a lot of different places, and I think he's kind of like the head of their defense. And so he's a good player. Flies around. I think just relentless effort from that guy. He's someone we have to take care of.
What's about the run game to take a step? It looks like Oregon State was quite a bit better than the 2 previous weeks. What, from your perspective, kind of made that happen?
Yeah, I think a lot of things. I think communication. I think we went to the doctor. We figured out what we were doing wrong, and instead of just letting it beat us again and again, I think we stepped up, made some changes with communication, and figured out where we're IDing, and just making sure that everyone's on the same page across the board, and getting ourselves into good runs against the defense. I think that's really helped us.
Terrence Ferguson, the perimeter blocking is so important to those big explosion plays. Remember, just a few weeks ago, it was Coach Lanning that was talking about how the perimeter blocking, the receivers, the tight ends, that's where the explosion plays come from in the run game. And Terrence Ferguson just talking about some of it right there. And we saw that run game get going against Oregon State, hoping to keep that going against a UCLA team that is toward the bottom in terms of rush defense. The run game, both defensively and offensively, our helmet just fell. The run game, both defensively and offensively for UCLA, has been a struggle. I think the run game, capitalizing on the run game, is a key for the Ducks. It's likely that one Mike Jorgensen will say that over and over again. What's the over-under on how many times Jorgie says something along the lines of run the ball tomorrow and on our pregame show? Tomorrow and the pregame show, how many times does Jorgie talk about how you have to run the ball? 7.5? You guys both said 7.5 at the same time, Austin and Scott. Okay, 7.5. That's how many times Jorgie will talk about running the ball. I'm going to take the under. I'm taking the under. I'm including the pregame show. Jorgie's only on the pregame show for like 6 of the 18 segments. He is on here for an hour. He'll do keys to the game once. You have to run the ball. He might say it again. Then he's going to maybe do it again at the end of the show as kind of final thought. That's 3. You're saying he's got to say it 4 more times on the pregame show. I'll ask him keys to the game. You said once a quarter pregame show. I'm saying just the pregame show. The show, the Duck Insider show, and the pregame show. Okay. All right. We'll find out. We'll find out. Meanwhile, it is Duck soccer game day, match day. The Ducks against Indiana, 7 o'clock tonight at Pape Field. Oregon head coach Graham Abel talked with the media previewing this Big Ten meeting at 7 o'clock tonight for Duck soccer.
Longer flight home than some others you'll take, but pretty nice to take it home after a win.
Yeah. I mean, we wanted to bounce back after Thursday. And so we had to move some pieces around. So I thought the kids did awesome in terms of adjustments. Had to play a couple of players out of position, but I mean, talk about team players being able to. I think they were last-minute adjustments as well, like morning of the game. So awesome in terms of making those adjustments and getting a good team performance in.
You want to shout out anybody in particular for the job they did in that regard?
Oh, Livy Moore. Who else played in different positions? I'm trying to think here. I think Marco and Livy Moore were the two main ones that we had to move around, and adjustment we made about the 60th minute where Haley had to come down as well. So yeah, just in terms of knowing roles and responsibilities and being able to do it at last minute and making it work for the team and understanding their job, just really, really good.
Is it one of those things where those adjustments worked against Maryland, but maybe a different game plan against Rutgers?
Yeah. I mean, I think against we made a couple of additional pieces from the Rutgers game just because we felt positionally we weren't having a ton of success and weren't getting some players in certain positions. So made a couple of adjustments there that we can have in our back pocket moving forward as well.
Just kind of overall thoughts on Indiana and Purdue coming up this weekend.
Yeah, 2 really good programs. I mean, both coaches are really well respected. Obviously, one in his first year. I think one's in, I think, year 4 or 5 or something like that. So both good teams, athletic. Indiana in particular, really good going forward, solid defensively. Real similar to us, to be honest with you, when you see both teams. So both of them will be tough games.
Only a couple weeks into conference play, but with these matchups this weekend, how much is like Big Ten seeding on your minds when you prepare for these matchups?
Only thing we're thinking about is Indiana. I mean, and that's, again, it can be boring coming from us coaches, but that's the only thing we have in front of us right now. So we've got to stack up as many points as we can, and then, when season's all said and done, we'll figure out where we're at the end then.
Is Sunday's result just another game, just another win? You've had a few, obviously, or going on the road, doing it in conference play, can that mean more to your group in terms of confidence, building momentum, anything like that?
I mean, we had really good confidence coming out of the UCLA game. We felt as though everything that was in our control, we did out of the UCLA game. Rutgers, again, we felt as though, didn't feel as though we had the best of in terms of the first half the way we wanted to have, and then start the second half well, and then again, things that are in our control we took care of. And so, but I think definitely grabbing the win, especially on such a long road trip, and everybody's asked me about that road trip, Rutgers and Maryland, and being the big road trip, and so to get a win out of that one was certainly good for the conference. But we feel good about the performance putting against UCLA. The spells of the Rutgers game we felt good about, but certainly coming out of the Maryland game felt good about that piece.
And the season's kind of coming up quickly. Only got about a month left in the year. Like, what just kind of your overall midway thoughts through first season in the Big Ten?
With regards to our group, love coaching the group. Great kids. Obviously only played 2 different teams from the Big Ten. Obviously UCLA we've known for a while. So, but yeah, going out to Rutgers and Maryland was great, and playing at 2 different types of venues, both great venues. Both schools were awesome hosts. So yeah, excited to take on the next group of Big Ten schools.
Good stuff from Graham Abel. They're always the first to start the season, and then it seems like the end does come fast. I kind of appreciated that question that, like, here we are starting classes Monday, and the soccer team is already halfway through the season. Goes quick. Goes real quick. Tonight, 7 o'clock at Pape Field, Indiana in town for Oregon soccer. The Ducks will be televised on Big Ten Plus. Also, Hometown Call, KDV Radio. Going to be a good time. When we come back, wrapping up the Thursday show, getting ready for Friday. I've already started taking my headache medicine today. Back after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Hey, Duck fans, at Country Financial, they make insurance easy. Whether you're shopping for home, auto, or more, their representatives will take the time to understand your specific needs and explain what options work best for you. Worry less and feel more confident knowing you're covered. Visit countryfinancial.com to get started today. Experience more with Country Financial. Auto and home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Preferred Insurance Company, and Country Casualty Insurance Company. Bloomington, Illinois.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
This is Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Babes, what are you doing?
What? I'm just mowing the lawn.
No, it's blazing hot and dry out here. Don't you remember? Smokey Bear says.
Avoid using power equipment when it's windy or dry.
Where'd you learn this?
Oh, it's on
SmokeyBear.com with many other wildfire prevention tips.
Right. Thanks, honey bear.
Because remember, only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Ma, is this how you feed a hamster?
I think so.
Is my homework right?
I think so.
Is, this milk still good?
I think so.
When it comes to parenting, sometimes it's okay to think you know. But when it's something as important as your child's car seat, don't just think. Know. Double check if your child is in the right seat for their age and size. It'll help protect them in a car crash. Don't just think. Know by visiting nhtsa.gov/the-right seat. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Duck soccer in action tonight at Pepe Field, and we heard a bit from Graham Abel, now one of the goal scorers for this team in Haley McWhirter, coming off a nice performance, getting better and better, I'd say, over the course of this season. I think the Ducks have showed improvement a lot. To hear a little bit from the goal scorer in Haley McWhirter before tonight.
Obviously, one of the longer flights home you guys are going to have this season. Just how satisfying was it to be celebrating a win coming home? Obviously for this program, it had been the first time winning on the road in a couple years. Not that you were involved in all that, but just that confidence you guys could take from that, sense of momentum, all that.
I mean, it was definitely great getting a win on the road. I think it was our first road win of the year, so that was really nice. And Big Ten win, first Big Ten win as well, so that was great. I mean, I think we're all very happy with that win, and now we're just looking for more.
Can you talk about your goal? What did you see on the build up to the play?
So I saw Cam and Jade win the ball, and then Cam was dribbling, and she passed it to me, and then I kind of got in the box and was like, I need to create something out of this, and the defender kind of sat off, and so I just released a shot quick, and it went in, so that was exciting.
It's always a great feeling. Haley McWhirter, hearing a little bit from the Mississippi State transfer, senior now for the Ducks, but has played in 64 games before coming here to Oregon, and a big-time veteran addition that has really, I think, aided Oregon's efforts. And, you heard Graham Abel talking about they had a couple red cards over this past weekend. They had to play a person down, and so now here we are looking at the home slate where the Ducks have been very, very good at Pepe Field. Haley McWhirter mentioning, though, getting a win on the road, a big deal. I think a confident Oregon soccer team now heading on the road. And now, or coming off the road, I should say. I think a more confident Oregon team that you're going to see tonight at 7 o'clock. Music means we're almost done. Tomorrow, 11:30 to 12:30, we will have Duck Insider for you. Jerry and Jorgie will join me. We'll talk keys to the game, Oregon, UCLA. We'll make some picks. It's nice. 11:30 to 12:30. And then we'll be hitting the road for a 6 o'clock pregame show and an 8 o'clock start. Oregon at UCLA. Good luck to Duck Soccer tonight. See you tomorrow.
Hear that? That's the sound of your
no
life.
problem. Have a good weekend.
Perfectly imperfect. Beating in rhythm to the world you've created. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out.